So, welcome everybody. This is Melissa Bailey from the Hawaii Assembly, and I'm actually having a beautiful conversation with Flat Earth Dave Weiss. And we're going to talk all things from manifestation, conscious creation to government, conspiracies, flat Earth. Who knows where the conversation is going to take us, but we're open. So, thank you so much, Dave, for taking the time.
Thanks for having me, Melissa. Looking forward to interesting discussion.
Right. Blank slate.
Yeah, well, I mean, government conspiracies. Well, governments literally are just conspiracies. That's all they have is they're conspiring, not for our benefit, that's for sure. And you know, there we
Right.
go.
Right. Yeah. Well, so for example, do you know that we have two declarations of independence and three constitutions?
I've heard that. I forgotten most of it, but yeah.
Right. So they only teach us we have one of each. And that's actually because like, okay, so we were just kind of sharing a little bit in my journey. I could tell something was wrong for quite a long time. Like when I was young, it used to actually really hurt my dad because he fought in World War II. My dad's 96 and a half. And I would say, God, we're slaves. We're not free. This is a freaking joke. We're obviously not free. We have to work. We have to do things we don't want to do just to put food on the table and have shelter and all these things. And just because you have the illusion of, do I want Starbucks or Pete's? That's not freedom. That's choice. That there's a difference between what freedom actually is. Freedom would be to create something out of nothing. And so I could never quite figure out where like where did the government go wrong? Because you start to find out, oh, they're incorporated and they've got Duns and Bradstreet numbers, and what is all this stuff? Like, how did that happen? And so eventually I came across Anna von Reitz, or Anna Maria Reisinger, and she had all the pieces because she'd been on the journey for over 40 years, and there's thousands and thousands of people involved in this. And that was like the whole trigger for me, was understanding how the heck did people come in and take over our government? Like how did that process occur? So that was one of the things that I just kind of wanted to share with you, because like we were just talking about with my lunch break, he always goes back and mentions, the artifacts are stolen and taken to the British Museum, right? It's always the Brits. The Brits are always there. And this is nothing against the British people. This is like, there's a difference between the British people and the Crown, which is really the inner city of London. So, yeah. So anyway, I just thought maybe that might be interesting to share with you and how it all ties together, because, yeah, they do want us creating and manifesting the world that they want for themselves.
Yeah, and you know, the whole flat earth thing is the foundation, no pun intended or pun intended, of the lie. And I was recently in the UK, and we went to this castle, and it was all about the globe. There was a giant globe out in the lawn overlooking the water. And the funny thing is we could see, I forget, some cliffs, Dover cliffs maybe, which we shouldn't have been able to see, right? If the earth is a globe. And then it has engraved in these walls all of this space stuff. I was like, this is just an indoctrination castle. Uh, and the reason for the globe lie is to keep us lost, to keep us, to hide God, to hide creation, to hide our true power, to hide manifestation, to hide more resources. I mean, it goes on and on. When someone says, well, why would they lie? I'm like, I want to say, that's the dumbest question I've ever heard. Because really, I mean, like, you have to be so dumb not to see it. But I didn't see it when I said it when I first learned about it. When I first was hearing about it, I'm like, why would they lie? What difference does it make? I still have to go to work on Monday. We were all programmed to say that.
Right, exactly. And I agree with you. Like, because once you realize that piece of it and how powerful you are as an actual conscious manifester versus an unconscious one that's just creating their world based on the images that they feed you, it starts to all come together. I mean, dude, they attack us from the moment we're in the womb, right? Like they start messing with our DNA. They start attacking us with the vaccines and frequencies. And it's not just a mental indoctrination, it's a breaking down of the physical and the mental.
When you're born, they inject you because you might have sex with a prostitute. You gotta get that one, and then they put stuff in your eyes so you can't look at your mother and bond with her, and they cut off the friggin' cord immediately so you don't get all of the cord blood, and it's incredible. I mean, there was a saying. It was William Casey from the CIA says once everything the American people believe is a lie, then our job is done. And
Yep.
I heard that like years and years and years, decades ago, and I was like, not everything. It is every. It's literally everything. Everything,
Everything.
everything. Dave, name one conspiracy that's the one thing that is true. And I used to say, well, Sully landed that plane on the river in Manhattan after the bird strike, and then I found out that was fake, and it was fake. Okay, I don't know what they did, but the why or why don't I have theories on why they would do all these fake plane crashes, but everything, everything is fake.
Everything.
Everything and
Yeah.
all the stuff going on underground. I just said the other day, I think there's more stuff underground than there is above ground. I think there's
I agree
more
with that.
more underground than there is above ground. That's crazy when you think about that.
Right? Well, with all the mud floods and all the resets that we go through, and
Yeah.
it's unbelievable. And I don't know if what's been found under the pyramids in Giza is real or not. I'm still debating on that because we haven't seen actual images or if it's just another psyop distraction, but
Don't
it sure
know.
would be amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it makes more sense than it not being there. So again, I'm still waiting to see. And um, I was gonna I had another point and I just lost it. It'll come back.
Right? Well, yeah, and then you start walking around cities looking, going, oh, look at those windows underground. Why do the stairs go down 2 and 3 steps? And how far down does it really go? I mean, even here, so I live on Maui. I was in Lahaina before the fire. And even the buildings there were buildings that were absolutely 2 and 3 stories underneath. Even the palace that's over on Oahu, absolutely, it's
I,
been mud flooded.
I tell people if you a lot of times I'm on shows and what do you mean the old world? Lewis and Clark discovered how the path to the West Coast. Meanwhile, the cities were already there. Um, I say watch a couple episodes of my lunch break, and then you'll walk out in your own hometown and you'll look around and you'll go, "How did I miss that? How did I miss that?" I mean, I live near Manhattan. I have a rule: never going to Manhattan, but occasionally I break that rule. And the buildings there's old world buildings. It's mostly old world buildings, except the new ones that they've destroyed the old ones with. And when you look at the stuff and think they built that without power tools and horse and buggies. Did you see the guy that used AI to ask how Yankee Stadium was built?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
you have my app. Do you have the app?
I don't. You know what? I get
That's
all creeped
okay.
out about
That's okay. That's
apps.
okay. On the app though, there's a search button. You just search Yankee Stadium for those of you that have it. And if you missed that one, it's so good. I've listened to it 20 times, and it just makes me laugh every time. It's
Right?
such an impossible story. That's what I love about Kenny, my lunch break. He doesn't really make claims. He's just like, look at this evidence. You tell me why. You tell me why. And the latest ones were not to just be talking about that, but this is important. Um, Dams. Have you kept up with the last couple, the China dams
Yep.
and the dams in Egypt? So Egypt had 1,300 sites that could not be explained in this timeline. So they built a dam and put them under hundreds of feet of water. And they say there's no scuba diving because we don't want you messing, and disturbing these archaeological sites that they just buried in 300 feet of water.
Right.
And people are like, yeah, no, we don't want to disturb. Like, what is up with people? And then I think that's a little bit of revelation of the method right there, because if anyone believes that, they're they they've given them the answer that you're really not using your God-given common sense, right? What
Yeah.
it's about our brains? We only use 10% of them,
Right.
right? Is
Yeah.
what they tell us in school. And our DNA, it's mostly junk DNA,
Right.
right?
Yeah. So that you
That's
feel small.
That's what they want you to believe. That's what they want you to
Hmm.
believe. We don't. I don't think we understand 10% of what our brain does. That's more accurate.
Right. Yeah, well, and then the cognitive dissonance that kicks in when you present what is like pretty obviously a discrepancy or something that's in opposition to how someone's been programmed. You can just see them kind of like, twitch out, and they want to hold on so tightly to whatever it is that, makes them feel safe.
You could lead a man to knowledge, but you can't make him think, and that's that's so true. And it's easier to fool somebody than convince them they've been fooled. And this is a big
Yeah.
one. This is the foundation of your world, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, you build a world that you feel safe in. You build, a world that you understand and that you feel safe in. And it's founded on the earth being a ball and space being real and all of this stuff. And when someone tries to pull that rug out, some people just can't handle it. And 99% of the flat earthers first rejected it, made fun of people that told them about it, refused to watch any videos. We all started out that way. And then
Mhm.
something made us look. Something made
Yeah.
us look. And you know, I learned about manifestation years ago, but I kind of knew about it. And I'm like, I kind of blew it off and everything. I'll just tell you a quick story. Um, I was watching, I think it was The Secret or one of the something in that series or whatever it was, and they talked about a manifestation board. And I put it off, put it off for years, and then I made an actual physical board. This is pre, computers and I mean not pre computers, but it was just
Like actual scissors.
actually scissors and stuff, and I did print out some stuff and I cut up some magazines when I haven't even seen a magazine in a long time. It's like I got my phone and I made this board and I listed all of the things that I wanted to be and happen and everything. And the last thing I wrote down on there was I want to be the CEO of my own company. And I giggled because I wasn't even sure what a CEO did. Right. And I just like, it sounds good. And then I had it up and I look at it every day and I think about it every day. And then it got put in the closet and I forgot about it. I didn't forget about it. It was just there. It's still there. And 5 years later, I found myself in my office at my own company. I had two partners, and I was closing out some projects, the finances on projects. And I said, wait a minute, I'm the CEO of my own company, right? And then I looked at everything else on the board, and every single thing came true. Every single thing had happened on that board. It just happened. It
Love
was
it. Yeah.
wild. It was wild.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does, and it doesn't take a whole lot. That's the other thing that it's not like you have to sit in meditation and like
I tell people, you ever when you're in that zone and everything, and then boom, the things that you need that are supposed to happen just show up. When you're thinking about somebody and that there they are and everything, and
Mhm.
it happens more and more and more. The more you get into that zone, it just happens. It happens more and more. It's
Yeah, it's
we started Paige and I started writing down all these miraculous things that happened. We had it was just going and going. We kind of stopped doing it because there's too many things on it. But it's truly amazing how it works, and you can't just say it's all coincidences.
oh, absolutely no such thing,
Yeah,
right? It's a frequency thing, and the higher your vibration, the more these things come together. It's that whole electromagnetism, or you refer to it as the electrostatic, right? Instead of gravity, everything has this electrostatic
yeah. Well,
quality to
that's
it, but
proven science versus pseudoscience gravity.
right, theories.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's that electromagnetism for the thoughts, because thoughts are actually magnetic, right? And then you're drawing to yourself the matter that is literally going to comprise that situation that's actually going to form into that. And it's to me, the same people who have been trying to get us to believe in the whole globe thing. It's the same group of people everywhere. It's the same group of people who've done this to our country. Like, we haven't had our country in 160 years. It hasn't been our country, and they've done this to Canada and Australia and, all these different countries. And so like this awakening that I'm part of, it's so funny because I was such an anti-government person. I hate politics. I never voted. I knew it was a freaking joke. Um, but it's kind of like that whole thing where people go, well, you only want to focus on the light, only focus on the good, only focus on these things. And it's like, that doesn't work. You have to look at what the entire picture is. It's like doing the shadow self work, right? Like, you have to be willing to look at what's broken or what's wrong in order to change.
in order to go the other way. Like people's like, I try to meditate, but I'm sitting there and a minute in, my mind is going crazy. As soon as you notice that your mind's going crazy, that's a huge success because you
Yeah,
notice it. You
it
notice it,
diffuses.
right? And if you see something you don't like, you're like, okay, awesome. I want to go that way. And it just sends you in the right direction. So here's my belief, right? I spoke at Anarchapulco this year again, And a guy named I'm spacing on his last name. Sorry, Logan. He did this thing on it was a astrology and how we don't have any free will. Now, I don't 100% agree with that, but I think I understand. My understanding of it is we chose to be here, right? As our soul chose to be here in this soul system, a system made for souls to have experiences and expand the mind of creation. And we said, this is our path. This is where we want to go. This is the experience we want to have. So your soul writes this life path, and that is your destiny. You have free will to go off of that path anytime you want. But when you go off of that path, it kind of sucks and it pulls you back in, right? You kind of can go any way you want, but the best way is what you predetermined for yourself. So we have free will, but be careful where you go, because if you get too far off your path, things get crazy. That's how I see it, and that resonates with me. I don't know.
Yeah. So my take on that is, so I feel like we're in a simulation. I think we're actually in a simulation within a simulation. I think there are a couple layers going on here. And then like we're of course we're eventually source, but it's like one and then another. And but okay, so my take on it is your astrology is your life script, but once you reach to a certain vibration, you're actually able to rewrite that script,
Oh, I can go with that for sure. For
you
sure.
know?
When
And like
you're in this 3D vibration, you have a path to get to where you've ascended far enough. And when I talk about flat Earth, this is a very simple look at the entire system. So this little thin Earth right here, this dielectric plane, this is where physicality exists, right? So this is less than 1% of the whole system, right? And this is
right.
all. This is the only thing you can hit with a hammer. The stuff here on this plane, and the rest is spirit, right? This is matter. The rest is spirit. And this is where our minds are connected to this entire thing. So,
Yes.
so if 1% is physicality and the rest is spirit, you could say, well, that's a damn simulation. That's a simulation.
Yeah, well, and it's all the same energy of source. Like even the empty
Right.
space is still source. It's the ether, it's whatever you want to call it. It's all connected, you know? And that's the other thing too, is we created all of it. We created what we would consider both sides of polarity, the positive and the negative, the good and the bad, you know? So it's all our own energy. So
You
to
know,
have that pushback to anything is kind of silly.
when they they said, oh, the earth is alive, Mother Gaia. And I used to laugh at that. But now it's like, this is a living system that we're in, from the sky, everything. The moon is tied to women's menstrual cycles, the delivery and removal of souls. That's how I see it, that it's integral in that part. And the sun, there's so much you can say about they can say about the sun. All of this is living system we're in. The earth breathes in and out the tides twice a day,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
all of that's going on. We're part of the system, and our minds, the 10% that we use, is connected to everything. And that's what they're trying to do. And the globe is literally limits our minds. It surrounds us. It puts us in a ball of fear, false evidence appearing real, FEAR. And that's how they control us. People say, well, I'm only one person. There's nothing I could do. No, that's not true. There's nothing they can do unless you allow them to do it.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And it's that's one of the things that's so important for people to understand in this whole like revelation of taking our power back as people is we do have the ability to create whatever we want to create, right? And it's having the ability to look at the darkness so that you can bring the light. So looking at the corruption, looking at everything that's transpired, like people don't understand that law is land, air, and water. Since we're speaking of acronyms, those are jurisdictions. And people need to understand what jurisdiction they're in. Like you're born on the land, but once your birth certificate is signed, how do I, so once your birth certificate is signed, you get human trafficked onto the sea, onto the water.
Yep.
And we actually hired and I should probably give a little background there. So, with two of the three constitutions, with one of the constitutions we hired after the War of Revolution, the Revolutionary War, we hired the British territory as our U.S. Navy, as the protectors of our inland waterways, our navigable waterways, the high seas, the shorelines, because we, as young Americans, which we weren't just like Americans, we had French, we had, English, we had all kinds of people here. Um, we didn't have a Navy, we didn't have any type of protection. So we hired them. They're our subcontractors, they're our employees to help protect us. And then we hired the Holy Roman Empire, which later became the Vatican, with the third constitution as our postmaster because they already had a postal service in place. And since then, since the Civil War, which wasn't a war at all, we have all this documentation proving it was never a war. It was a mercenary conflict between these two guys, actually, of who was going to usurp their power. And since that moment, let's just say Honest Abe wasn't very honest, right? If you have to say somebody something, they're probably not that
It
thing.
was Abe Lincoln that lived in the log cabin that we're all taught, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. And you've
exactly.
seen my lunch break show what was
Yeah.
down the road from the log cabin, these giant palaces that we couldn't build today. But he lived in this crappy log cabin. It's so funny.
Right.
The law, and I bring this up. Divine law is the law
Yes.
of God. Common law is the law of the land, and statute,
Yep.
maritime law is the law of the sea or man's law. In order
Yep.
to convince a man to give up his divine rights and their common rights, you have to convince them they're not divinely created in a divine world. So when you're born, our governments can't admit that the earth is a globe, the earth is flat, and God created it, because then they'd have to abide by natural law, by God's law,
Yeah.
right? The simple don't rape, don't kill, don't steal,
Yeah.
right?
It's two rules. Do unto others as you would have done unto you, and do no harm.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
That's it. And then all these other laws are just mandates or whatever.
Yes, 80 million of them that the British
It,
territory has put in place in 160 years.
you know what a mandate is? Is when Obama takes his husband out to a movie. It's a mandate.
I
For
like
sure.
that.
I didn't deliver that right, but you get the gist of
I
it.
oh, I totally get it. And people thought I was crazy. You know how it is when you see things way ahead and then everyone's like, rah, 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 and
I
now and everyone starts to see things.
I've been screaming about how's the spraying of the skies in Hawaii. Here it is insane. It's so insane.
I was just posting on that. I was just sharing because they took Lahaina out by fire, which is their burn back better, right? And I think they're trying to take Kihei out with flooding because we're built on wetlands. And like literally I record now. And I'm like, oh, look, you can see it. You can see the frequencies when they're hitting us with the microwaves and the way, and the waves of the clouds. And then bam, you have a huge downpour, everything floods. Yeah. So they're still hitting us. It's been way more since the fire. So in the
This
last
this
2 years, it's a
this
lot.
this was yesterday. This was yesterday. My wife's giving the salute to the sky. Can you see that?
Atta girl.
Yeah. So we had a blue sky before that, and it just literally came in, and people still deny it. And I've been screaming about this for over 2 decades, handing out
Same.
flyers
Yeah.
and everything. Everyone says you're crazy. Just on the 15th, not that I believe any of this, but Trump has started a task force to stop it. And RFK is like, we're going to put these criminals to jail. I don't believe any of that's going to happen, but at least they're admitting it. And just today, I saw something in the UK. They're talking about spraying the skies to stop, to dim the sun to
Yep.
stop global warming. What the heck? Are they just testing us to see how sheepish we'll be? You
I
know?
know. I know. Well, and so to speak on that real fast, so this whole thing, so we have the three pieces. We have the real American government, which is what you are when you correct your status back to the land, right? And we are governed by common law. You are 100% correct on that. If you're a US citizen or a citizen of the United States, if you're a U.S. citizen, you're part of the British territory. A citizen of the United States is part of the air jurisdiction, which is the papal, all roads lead to Rome, ultimately, the Holy Roman Empire. Once you correct your status, come back on the land, it's a whole different jurisdiction. Anyway, so we have three versions. 10 years ago, Pope Francis filed bankruptcy for the municipal version of our government. So, what's really going on right now? This isn't Trump going in and being some hero and Elon going in and being some hero of auditing. This is the process that naturally occurs in a bankruptcy with the dissolution of a corporation. But they won't tell the truth because instead they can use this as a way to, pit people against each other, right? You've got people that are pissed off about one aspect of it, other people that are pissed off about another aspect of it, and it just creates more of that polarity between, the people of our country.
But Elon is auditing NASA. The guy that's faking space is going to audit NASA.
I know.
And so, what could go wrong? Like,
Right. Well, and so then it's so like on this last Katy Perry thing, when
man,
everyone's like, oh my God, it's so obvious. I'm like, maybe they're making this one so obvious. They're telling this lie so the other lies look more real when they're all lies. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, make it so blatant that people go, oh, well, obviously this one's not the truth, but these ones over here, these were real. Oh, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
these were real.
it's all ritual sex magic.
I know.
It's all
Flying
incredible.
penises everywhere.
Yeah, and if you watch, let me see if I have it. There's most of the time the cameraman when he's filming the his rock. This only happens on if I can find it on Bezos's rockets, right? His rockets that just happened. Look, the cameraman always has a little of emotion. He's got Tourette's or something, right? They're just
Right.
sticking it in our face. It's so bad,
Totally. I
right?
know it's
And,
so
and it's
bad.
not just that. It's NASA. They give us pictures like this. And there's so many things that are
Well, and
crazy.
are they even women that were on that trip? That's
Well,
another part of the
that
brainwashing.
pretend to be on that trip. Nobody
But
here's
yes.
there's so many big, bigger mainstream, not mainstream, but very popular people that are calling this BS, but they're saying, look at their hair. That's not what it looks like in space. Then they show Medusa woman on the ISS, and they're like,
Yep.
that's what it's supposed to look like. That's no, that's fake. Also, they're
And that's exactly what I mean.
right. They've got people in these limited hangouts. It's like if you go to covid.gov, it says it was fake, that the vax doesn't work, the masks don't work, that it was done, it was a gain of function, it didn't come from the market, but it's still a real thing. They want you to still
I
believe
know.
the boogeyman is real, and so everyone's so excited that they're revealing. No, it's just that's just for some people that are looking, but you still end up feeling that it's real,
Right.
right? It's
They needed to go one more step.
yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing. Well, and about in 2021, I started showing folks how to look at the Bluetooth on the phone for the people that have been chipped. You know how to do that, yeah?
I had to use a Bluetooth detector on your phone to see if you've
Yeah.
been chipped. You got to get away. You got to go like in the middle of nowhere to do it.
Well, they show up specifically. It's a 12-digit number, and it'll be 2 digits, a colon, 2 digits, a colon, and all the way out for 12 total. And so, I think it was 2020 or
Those
2021.
those are the ones that are human.
Yeah, that have active chips in them.
Yeah, I
And
saw
you can watch people like drive by. They'll show up on your Bluetooth and then they'll disappear.
yeah, people out in the middle of graveyards and
I saw that.
it's wild. I took you sometimes after a heavy spraying, you look on your car, there's like a fine dust, and you could scrape it off and take a magnet. It's all magnetic. Like, why
Yep.
is metal come magnetic metal? And the same at the beach, all that black layer on the sand. It all
Hmm.
goes. It's incredible. And then I actually did it, and it all was on the magnet. And then it looked like it was alive. It was like moving. It was
Yeah.
coming together, and I was afraid. I couldn't even get it off. I ended up throwing the magnet out.
Yeah. It's like black goo stuff. You know
Yeah,
about the black goo, yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so here it's super windy, right? Where I live now. And my
People kite surf. Oh
magnet,
wait, are people kite surfing right now?
they do. Yeah, absolutely. We
I,
get
I
some on
love.
this
I'm,
side
I'm
and
a
on the
huge
North
kite surfer.
Shore.
I'm a huge kite surfer. That's all.
Oh, you got to come out here.
I know.
If you guys come out.
All right. On Maui.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll show you. Yeah, so Pa'i is a big spot, and then Kihei has some good spots too, just depending on the wind. But oh, that's one thing I want to do. I haven't tried yet. Just that feeling when you launch and
It's
having
so
that hang time.
it's the best. It's the best. And you can jump up and look for the curvature. There is none.
Right. You're like, so the magnets on my refrigerator, they collected dust around them, because they're right next to an open window. Whoa, that was now I'm feeling like Katy Perry. But there's like dust on the magnet. I'm like, holy crap, because it's everywhere, right? I mean, which is why they're marketing us based on our thoughts all of a sudden. Like you have a thought, and next thing you know, there's an ad for it. And you're like, God dang it.
Have you seen about Novocaine, that dentist's office? Novocaine has the graphene in it, the graphene, and so they take the Novocaine vial, you heat it up with a light, a little, fire a little bit, and then you take a ring magnet and slide it over like 3 or 4 times, and it all boom, it all goes to the bottom, and it's literally nanotech graphene in the Novocaine. And
Wow.
so they're showing people how to get Novocaine without it, and every single vial that they've tested has it. Every single. So if you have Novocaine, they're injecting graphene into your teeth, which is another psyop, right? Your
Yeah.
teeth, pulling out your wisdom teeth. It's crazy what we let them
Right.
from
Well,
else.
and then your teeth are connected to all the meridians in your body, right? So it's like, yeah, there's
And you
so much going on that people don't realize.
you know about root canals,
Yes, don't do them.
right?
They're horrible.
So anybody listening, if you know somebody that has breast cancer, there's a 99% chance they have a root canal on the same side of their mouth.
Right.
99%.
Right. And also, that molds, mycotoxins, and parasites are like the roots of all these other diseases that they've created names for,
Right.
like fibro and MS and dementia.
Yeah. Here's another thing from Alex Zach, The Way Forward. He talks about this a lot. You know, Alec, The Way Forward podcast, great podcast. He's
No.
amazing, especially the episode he did with me. But he th- we talk about our immune system. We have a wellness system. We don't have an immune system. We're just, our bodies want to be well, and so if you keep the terrain clear, and then also your thoughts, like just praying over your food,
Yep.
letting the give you nutrients, and anything bad pass through you, changes the water in the food, right? You know about the rice experiment and everything,
Oh
where,
yeah.
right?
Animoto.
Yeah, yeah, and so all of that, and it's just the little things that they don't want you to know. They make like it's just nonsense. The anti-flat earthers are out there. They just like, if you can't hit it with a hammer, it's not real, and therefore, we can look up at the sky and make up a story, and you have to believe it. It's wild.
It's crazy.
Hey, everybody, quick message that I'd like to share with all of you. Our lives are filled with toxins in our air, food, and even in the information we're taught. Avoiding them all is impossible, but helping your body detox doesn't have to be complicated. That's where Masterpiece comes in. Just 5 drops under your tongue twice a day, and that's it. Super easy, super simple, and it doesn't even taste bad. I've tried countless supplements, and while generally I'm pretty healthy, I didn't really feel much of an effect. But with Masterpiece, it delivered noticeable benefits. Check out the podcast I did with Terry from Masterpiece, linked below this video, or you can find links directly to Masterpiece on my website, flatearthdave.com, or in the shopping section on the app. The key to health is to detoxify. Now back to the show.
Well, and then going back to like what all the jibbity jabs have done, right? It's the changing of the DNA of people. So now they're like this whole transhuman thing with our government, our fiduciary, and our head of state. They've actually passed a public law because I believe it's is it DARPA was saying that now they own you if you've had
If you
any of
were a
that.
human pincushion,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that they now own you because you are genetically modified. So we've actually written a public law stating that if you've corrected your status and you're back on the land, they do not have ownership rights to you.
well,
It's crazy.
it
Yeah. Yeah, because the
and
land oversees everything.
yeah,
The
and
land is
then
the
you try to
strongest
tell
jurisdiction.
anything we're talking about to a normal mainstream watching person, they just think you're not hippie, crazy, crazy,
I
and
know,
it's like
right?
we're the crazy ones. This is how far conspiracy has gone. Check this out. years ago, people would say, "Oh, there's aliens coming from outer space," and now let me get this right because it's pretty funny when we now they're saying that aliens, the drones, the mystery drones and the orbs that were flying everywhere. I don't know if you had them in Hawaii. We had one right over our neighborhood here, and we're the ones, the conspiracy theorists are the ones that are saying, no, they're not aliens. Like it's totally reversed. like,
Right.
like we're the ones saying, no, it's a psyop. You're being psyops.
Yeah, you're being tricked, people. I know it's so hard.
I think the purpose of that entire thing was to get people just accustomed to there being aliens, right?
Mm,
And from the mainstream side, because if they did the fake alien invasion, which I think could be pretty close to happening, the world could freak out, right? People could freak out. But if they get it to the point where, like, oh, there's aliens, and people are like, yeah, we've heard about them for years with those drones. We've seen them, and the government said there's nothing to worry about, so they've been here forever. They're not doing anything hostile, and that way they can bring in the whole fake alien invasion and not have everybody freak out. I think that's
right?
it. Kind of just normalized it.
Yeah, it's kind of like when Mars attacks and everyone's all excited, and then it's that knack knack, and they start to attack all the people. You know? But yeah, they get desensitized. People get desensitized and they stop thinking because it's so commonplace. They're so used to it. Yeah, that they just
Right.
don't contemplate anymore. That whole deductive reasoning and contemplation, it's not taught in schools anymore, you know.
And people say they don't believe in conspiracy theories. There's a conspiracy happening in your own home if you have more than two people living there because there's people getting
Exactly.
together to conspire for their own benefit. That's a conspiracy, right?
Yes.
On that early that the week and a half into September in 2001, the official story is the craziest, dumbest conspiracy theory ever. The truth is the truth, but the official
Yes.
story is from Narnia. It's so stupid.
Yes.
It's so stupid.
It's so retarded. And now you look at stuff and you're like, oh, you see the consistency of like what Lahaina looked like afterward, what Redding, California looked like afterward, what Malibu looks like afterward, and I'm not saying it's just one thing, because like here, you've got the stuff that's being, you know,
Yep.
sprinkled on you all day, every day, that's definitely going to increase the combustion.
Yeah,
We
the
actually have
the
the
the aluminum,
helicopters.
the aluminum.
Yeah, exactly. And we have video of the helicopters with the lasers on the nose that are,
Oh,
you know,
nice.
yeah. So we have photos or we have video of them in the smoke, driving or flying through and stuff like that. Yeah, it was way bigger, of course, than what the media has said, for sure. Um, but all of that's going to come to light too, slowly but surely. And now our
I
chief
think
of police is on.
as you said, and that's very interesting. The all of the Doge stuff is how you go bankrupt, how the things that you have to do, and I think the revelation of the method is a real thing, and they're literally just telling us everything now. They're telling us everything. They told us the CIA took out Kennedy. They're telling us they're spraying the air. We're going to do something about it. I don't even know if our government has any control over what's going on in the sky there. I don't even know if it's
Right.
them. It could be them. It could be. I don't know. It could be the friggin'
Right.
Nephilim or the fallen angels from beyond Antarctica that are doing it. It could be whatever. And then 1776 is our declaration. Is that when our declaration was 1776?
Yeah, that's one of them. We have two, but that's one of them.
But
Yeah.
I think 1776 was just after we came out of the last reset and when they started repopulating the world. Have you looked into the Cabbage Patch Kids?
Yes.
Yeah. When I first heard
Yeah.
about that, I was
And
like,
the orphan
okay, that's
trains.
just a step too far. And now I'm just like, I'm just don't even want to look at it anymore because it's sucking me in deeper and deeper. It is,
Yeah.
it is. And now, wait, just the other day I heard that they're growing babies outside of women's wombs now for real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They have the whole placenta and the
Yeah.
whole thing. Yeah. It's
I think that's old technology.
trippy.
The people used to say, how did they fake the shot of the Earth back in 1969 or whatever year? I know they didn't have Photoshop back then. I think they had Photoshop in the 1700s. Okay,
Right.
probably a better version, right? They haven't
Right.
given us what they had back then.
Yeah. I know. I have this, I just, I feel like we do a reset every however many. I've heard 138. I've heard different, different
Yeah.
time frames, but it's almost like I wonder if what the old world is left over from that, and then it was okay. Now we're just going to do another reset. Not in terms of like just a mud flood, but like okay, now it's
Is it
a
a
whole new group of souls,
is it a reset because of too many people are waking up and that's when they say time to reset? You know,
right?
did we get to that part? Give me 14 seconds. I'll be right back.
Okay.
How'd I do? 14 seconds?
Oh, I should have timed you.
Right.
I think it was pretty close though.
All right. Thanks.
That's funny. Um, yeah, well, and just real fast, I wanted to make a comment. So like the CIA created the whole conspiracy theorist. Just to mirror that with our government stuff, that's the sovereign citizen thing that they've created, right? They're like, oh, these sovereign citizens, they're crazy, they're out of control, and they think they have this freedom and they don't. Well, first of all, sovereign citizen is an oxymoron because sovereign is to have your freedom and a citizen is to be a slave. Like people don't realize that the dictionary that we use right now, like human actually means monster. It's not even it's like the color of law, right? It's like the color of our language, just like
What was life being?
anarchy.
Human. Human.
Yeah, it's the color of man. It's not even being a man. It's not being the living man or woman. Um, but yeah, I wanted to speak to that. And then there was I forgot where I was going with it. Oh, another thing I wanted to share with you is we actually have different flags. So, like the flag that we know as Old Glory, that is our wartime flag that we gave to the British territory when we hired them with the second constitution that they're supposed to fly during times of war, which the last war we've ever had was the War of 1812. There's actually paperwork that's supposed to be filed by Congress to declare war beginning and to declare war ending. And that was the last time anything like that was completed. All the rest has been mercenary wars that have been run by the same Raj that has done this BS around the globe, right? And so we actually have a different flag, and it's described in the Scarlet Letter. It's a vertical flag. I have a photo of it if you want me to screen share, but it's a vertical red and white stripes go in this direction, and then we have the stars that are over in one of the corners. But it's a whole different take on stuff, and people don't realize. And that's why we've always had war on drugs, war on whatever. Like they're always having some war on something so that they can keep fighting or keep hanging this war flag, We're actually peaceful people. We're very nice.
Yeah.
We're very calm.
I think, I mean, wars, it seems to me, it's just like to keep the population down, to get good men and destroy them and, and
Yeah,
have them willingly
sacrifice.
kill each other. Like, how many people did George Bush unalive? Is zero is the answer. They've just convinced them. If I convince you to go kill your neighbor, I'm not supposed to say that word, um, that's on you, not on me.
Right.
That's on you.
Yeah.
So that's what they do, and there's so many different ways they depopulate us. By becoming a human pincushion. That's taking people out and sterilizing people. And another big one is college.
Yes.
So, do you have kids? Do you have any kids?
I do. I have a daughter.
So I have two kids,
And
and
I told her, please don't go to college.
yeah, I tell people don't go to college, and a whole bunch of people didn't. I told them just go to Crow University, Crow 777,
Hmm.
and a whole bunch of people did it, and they said their kids are now they've gotten off the video games, they've got desires, they have ideas, they're doing things right, and they didn't spend
Right?
100 grand on indoctrination. Um,
Yeah.
but college, I had a boy and a girl, and I was like, you know what? That's enough. Number one reason, well, I got one of each. God blessed me, with two healthy kids, and I'm worried about college, about affording college. That was back in the days when I was sleeping, and 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 so that's the reason I didn't have more. And that's the number one reason that people wait to have kids or don't have as many kids. So think what would happen if you didn't, if college was free, okay, or it didn't exist, right? The population, the growth rate would be over double. It would be over double, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Which,
Amazing.
I mean, who even knows what the population really is, right?
It's less than 3 billion. That's my opinion. And there's
Yeah.
lots of evidence to show that.
Yeah, it's just another fear tactic to make people
Yeah.
feel like there's scarcity. We're
Right.
running out of things. And it's like, really, really, you
That,
really
that,
think our
that
beautiful
the
planet,
globe is limitation and, the flat earth is abundance, endless abundance.
right, exactly. Constant,
Yeah.
constant. Yeah.
David Avocado Wolf once was talking that he doesn't think extinction exists. Like when the earth is running out of something, it just replenishes it, like fish falling out of the sky into lakes
Right.
and stuff, right? Like crazy stuff happens. So,
Yeah,
what about the dinosaurs? They were never real. Okay.
exactly. Like, come on now.
What about the dragons? Well, they were never real. Those were real, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You ever see the 1946 dictionary? Found this.
Yeah. The Webster's one.
No, the 1946
Oh,
dictionary, I think it was Webster's. Dragons, it gives the definition, now rare.
right.
In 1946, now rare. Does that mean they didn't exist or there's less of them now?
Right.
Right?
Well, and I mean, it makes you wonder what all of these mercenary conflicts were about. Besides destroying the old world buildings, I've heard stories of killing giants over in Afghanistan. You
Absolutely.
know, things
But
like that, where they're just trying to get rid of all of
I
the
did an
truth.
interview with Darius J. Wright. You know who he is? He's an OBE traveler. He looks like Jesus, right? You've definitely seen him. You
Okay.
definitely you definitely seen him. It's this guy, Darius Darius J. Wright.
Okay. Yeah, I
Looks like
haven't
really
seen
good.
any of his stuff. Great hair, though.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And he's got a really deep voice too. And the funny thing is, when I went on with him, I said I started out because I was like, I was really nervous to talk to you because of your deep voice and your hair, right? And he has no sense of humor. He has zero sense of humor. He's like, what? What? And I was just like, crickets, crickets. I'm like, all right,
Right.
this is going to be a tough podcast. But one of the things he said, it was either in our interview or another interview. He said that dragons are super intelligent. They're the most intelligent creatures on
Mhm.
Earth, and they could speak. Okay, believe it or not, whatever. It just had a resonance of truth to me. Like
Yeah, I feel
dragon,
that too.
yeah, amazing.
Well, and that's the whole how to train your dragon, right? Because I have to give you a little bit of truth,
Yeah,
right? That's that disclosure. But I completely agree. I mean, look at all of our statues. Look at all the artwork that has a dragon. You don't see a dinosaur, but
right.
you see a dragon everywhere. Year of the Dragon. I mean,
And
come on.
yeah, that's why I think that dinosaurs were created to hide dragon bones and giant
Hmm.
humans. Like, oh no, it's just a dinosaur. Right?
Right? No, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah, and I'm the Chinese guy making the zodiac. Okay, I got 12 animals. I'm gonna put a fake one in there now. The 13th one is gonna be a fake animal. I got 12 real animals. I'm gonna put one fake one in there just to fuck with them.
Right?
Right, like they did with the clock. Right,
Oh my God.
the sun goes around once every 24 hours, but they go, let's give them clocks, but make the sun go around twice a day, so they can never figure out where they live.
Totally agree. It's such
Right.
a different vibration.
So you're in Hawaii right now. It's around noon.
Yep.
Right? The sun's
Yep.
right there, right? It's hard to see Hawaii, but the sun's pretty much almost directly above you.
Yeah. I love your app. Yeah, it feels so right the way that the moon and the sun and everything. And like I've been a flat earth person for several years, and then having the plane flights, and
Right?
the fact that you can have it on your phone is pretty cool because then you can mess with stuff, you can play
It's
with
like
it
when
and
there's never any downtime. Like if you're waiting for a line somewhere or you got 20 minutes to kill, there's always something to educate yourself or educate somebody else. Like I was able to pull up that dragon thing just by going into the images and typing dragon, and like if you're
yeah.
talking to somebody like, what about the sun under clouds? You just go to the images search and you say sun under, and here are a whole bunch of examples of how the sun under clouds doesn't light them up. Um,
Right.
and it shows you that the light is actually on top of the clouds. The bottom's not lit. But you could find anything to help educate other people, on the topic. And
Yeah,
what difference does it make? It makes all the difference in the world. If you don't know where your feet are planted, if you don't know that you're the center of creation, if you don't know that you're a powerful being, then you're not. Right?
right.
You're not.
Well,
Right?
and
If you
it's
say, "Well, I believe," or "I can't," yes, that's true because you just said it.
right,
All right.
right. Well, it's
Yeah,
the
it's true
placebo
for you.
effect.
Yeah.
People don't get it. It's not just for a sugar pill. It's that whole belief system applies to everything in your life, not just that you think this pill is going to work.
Now you've heard of Bretherians, right? Or
Oh
some
yeah, I did
people.
that for quite a while.
How
Yeah,
long? How long did you do it for?
about 6 months.
6 months. No food.
No food.
Water.
From time to time I would, yeah, just
So you
because
went
of where I
6 months.
was.
How did you do?
I did fine. I mean, I felt amazing. I was charging every day, sun charging. My energy was incredible. I felt really, really
And
good.
but you drank on a little bit of water. That's it.
Yeah. And then I would do saltwater flushes every morning too.
Perfect. So that's as close. I was going to say that David Avocado again. He's living with somebody that hasn't eaten or drank water in like 15 years or something. Like,
Yeah.
what the heck is going on? So to understand that your thoughts create things, that you don't need food, that the rice experiment, it's just all this stuff. This place is way greater than we can even imagine. It's
Right.
absolutely amazing.
Well,
Absolutely.
I think that's why old buildings don't have restrooms
All the
because they
old
weren't
buildings.
taught that they
Yeah,
need, they weren't taught that they need to eat.
yeah,
It's another way to lower the vibration, right?
yeah.
If your body's spending energy digesting and processing and all of that,
But
it's
but I
pulling
love
energy
I
away.
love food. I love
I
food. I love food. It makes me feel good.
know. Right? Like I don't drink, but I love food. No.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Right on, dude.
So
Yeah, it's go ahead.
no, people just wanna say, "Oh, the Earth is a globe because of this." I'm like, have you looked at all of the other stuff that we can't really explain? Have you understood? The ball has limitations, and we can see beyond those limitations. So, I
Yes.
mean, air needs containment. You can't breathe air without containment. The fact that we're breathing right now proves God, right? And
Right.
think about this: where in the Bible or any religious book that said God created water? Never. It doesn't say it. The water existed, and God separated the waters from the waters, right?
Right.
And then if you all of a sudden your mouth and nose were plugged, what's the first thing that's going to happen? You're going to lose consciousness
Right.
because you can't breathe, right? So breathing in, what are you breathing in? What is air? What is
Right.
air, right? And
I've
air and water
contemplated
are the
that.
yin and the yang. You can make water from air and air from water.
Mm-hmm.
So and they say that God is within us and around us and everywhere. Maybe air and water are the physical manifestations of what God is around us, and it's everywhere, right? And if you don't have God in you, you can't be alive,
Right. Right.
whether you
Yeah.
know it or not. It's really interesting. I don't know.
Totally. Yeah. And again, it's all the same source energy, right? But I've contemplated that too, like what we consider air, is it just a different viscosity of water? Are we actually in water, but we don't realize that we're in water?
Yeah,
I don't know. There's just so many different things that once you start questioning what you've been taught, you start to question all of it.
yeah. There's a video on the app if you search "what is water" and it goes over all of the things about water and its correlation to God, if you will, and it's interesting.
Yeah, it is the power of life, right?
Yeah.
Right on. Oh my God. Well, Dave, I appreciate your time.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. Fun discussion, a little different than, I'm not out there banging out the flat earth proofs, but if anybody,
Right?
assume your audience is awake to the flat earth.
They are. I mean, I
Okay.
think, well, I know a lot of them are because we're all friends. So we have 50 assemblies across the country that are back in session.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't share as much about the government stuff as I wanted to talk about, but yeah, we do have a lot of people that are awake to what's going on. So,
Awesome. For those of you that want to learn more about flat earth, if you just go to my website, flatearthdave.com. If you don't want to get the app's $3. scroll down to, you'll see a picture of me. It says Crash Course. And there's a list of documentaries. Awesome. Well made. Super fun. Watch with the family, watch with the kids. Um, that you can't get through three of them without becoming a flat earther. So don't watch them if you don't want to become a flat earther.
Right.
And then and then the old world page, which is the Griffin button right here, has so many great things on it, great channels, great videos. Have you looked into the Nephilim or clowns?
Ooh, I've
it's a,
heard that.
it's a good
Interesting.
series. Yeah, it's a good series. And
Okay.
this one, Our History in a Different View, guy did a phenomenal job. Old world, flat earth. It's all amazing. And then, of course, Sean Hibbler's Old World Order, if you're brand new to the old world. And of course,
Great.
my lunch break, greatest stuff ever. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so
Well,
many good stuff. So much good stuff.
and then I'll do a shameless plug too for the American States Assemblies TASA. So it's TASA dot the American States Assemblies.org if anybody's interested in getting their rightful American political status corrected, and if they're curious about what the heck's going on and what jurisdictions are and how to actually bring back their lawful government that hasn't been exercised, in 160 years. It actually gives the power back to the people. That's the thing, that the hierarchy right now trickles from the top down. The government that we are reconstructing, which is what was supposed to happen after the Civil War, was the Reconstruction. The power is in the hands of the people at the county level and then the state level, and then we have our own president. And it's all based on what the people desire, what the people want, not what some paid puppet decides for everyone. So yeah, and every single state has its
He,
assembly back in standing.
the biggest psyop is that people think that they're powerless and there's nothing they can do. They have to obey. And that is the biggest psyop of all. And the truth is,
Right.
you don't have to unplug from the matrix, which is the globe. Um, Try to get off their fiat system. Use Monero and whatever you can, or have your
Yeah.
own trading stuff. And they can't control you. They
So
can't control you.
we actually have, as Americans, we have our own gold backed money. It's called the American Federation dollar, and it's going to be in trading starting in October on the London Exchange.
Hmm.
And it's, being a gold back, it's worth 1/10 of an ounce of gold, right? Because technically, and what people don't understand is you've got your Federal Reserve note, which is the monies that are used within, I use the word nation, but that's another word that's been psyoped because each state is its own nation. But within the country of the United States or America, we use the Federal Reserve note. Outside of that, when we do international business, we're actually using the US dollar, which is still backed by silver. There's a difference, and people don't even realize, there's a difference between the two. But yeah, we actually have our own funds, we have our own money, and we've recouped, I can't even tell you how many zeros behind assets that they've stolen from us. I mean, we've got thousands of trusts that belong to us. One trust alone has 92 zeros. Numbers that we can't even fathom,
You can't
right?
fathom that
Because we
number.
haven't been taught that. So we should be having access to that hopefully by the end of the month. And that's when people are going to realize that we're not just some weird movement, but like how controlled people have been, because the whole idea is, what if you're not stressed about money, you have all of this energy, you have this freedom to be like, well, what do I want to do? What do I want to create? What do I want to experience? You're not in this scarcity, fight or flight mentality that's such a lower root structure, vibration.
That's where most people are. They're just struggling and that's all they care about. What difference does it make? I have to go to work on Monday. That's the number one thing people say.
Yeah.
Uh, that's the biggest psyop of all.
Yeah, and that's why they'd rather sit around and just watch some football game and pound beers, because it's external to internal
You
instead
know,
of internal to
you've
external and
seen how
create.
stadiums are all seeing eyes, even the roads around
Oh,
them. It's crazy. And then all of that energy, it's a
the loosh.
loose energy. And I somebody pointed out the other day, and I can't get it out of my head. Amusement parks are just extracting
Yes,
loose energy. It's like,
they love the adrenaline.
yeah. So I'm
These
still going to go on a
beings.
good roller coaster, but I'm not going to be afraid at all. I'm just going to go on it and
Right.
relax. I'm going to go on it and meditate. Okay.
There you go.
I'm not going to give them
It
any
just flies
energy.
off the track like a
Yeah.
magic carpet.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Not going to give up any of that energy.
Yeah, because and when it all comes down to it, that's what was so weird for me, like because I was totally like in this whole other world with energy and airy fairy, and I don't want to say new agey because that's also a psyop, right? It's
Yep.
just another religion. But living in a whole different realm. And then once Lahaina happened, I was like, okay, I need to get back to waking people up. And you realize like it's an energy, it's all about energy, and they're trying to control our energy, they're trying to keep our steal our energy, whatever it is, they're trying to get us to manifest for them. It all ties together. It's not just governments over here or schools or money or whatever, like all it's like a freaking uh trivial pursuit little game piece, right? All the different pieces of the pie fit together, and it's all important. The flat earth, and that's like actually the center pie is the flat earth right there, right?
Right.
And then you have all the different pieces. That's a graphic you should make.
I'll try that.
So yeah. So anyway, I appreciate it. And if you want to learn more, Dave, I'll show you more. I'll teach you more if you're interested in like the constitutions and where they came from. And
Sure, definitely. I'm always interested in that. All right, Melissa,
yeah,
thanks for having me.
awesome.
I appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Dave.
Hey everyone, if you enjoyed this interview, please help support my work and help wake up others by referring or gifting the app to at least one person today. By doing that, you're going to help wake people up and help me to continue doing other interviews like this. With the censorship out there that's going on, it's very difficult to find relevant information. And the app, as you know, brings people to the truthful information of our world. So help support my work, help support your efforts in waking up friends, family, and strangers. Gift them the app or just recommend the app. And let's make 2025 the year Flat Earth breaks free. Check the links below for information on how to gift the app or just refer the app to others and use your referral code to earn Dome cryptocurrency and a free subscription. Thanks.